Okay, so just get comfortable on your chair. Make sure your feet are on the floor so you're nicely grounded. We'll just start with an assessment. So today's going to be tension in the shoulder girdle, the spine, the neck, and even into the head. So just move your head around and just see how the neck is feeling. So if you are feeling stressed, your neck muscles are going to react and you're going to be very tense in the muscles. So this is a good one for me at the moment as well. My neck is super tight. And then just do what I call the seesaw. If you think about the mastoid process behind the ear, just lift one side up and drop the other side down. And then come back to level and do it the other way. So don't turn your nose towards your shoulder. Keep your head perfectly balanced on the top of your spine. And you're just pivoting on C1, C2, and you're going to feel your scalene stretching. So these are breathing muscles, even though they're part of the neck. And so if you are tense, your breathing becomes altered. These muscles get hyper stimulated and they attach. You might be able to feel as you do the seesaw, you might be able to feel them connecting into the top two ribs that are above the collarbone. First two ribs are above the collarbone, and you can feel that tension where they attach to the ribs. So very tight here. So this is always a good quick fix. If you just keep the head perfectly square, pivoting on top of the cervical vertebra, and just do your seesaw. So you're thinking hinge of jaw up or mastoid process up. And just find a stretch that's comfortable. So you're talking 60% range. You're not trying to force your neck to overstretch. That's not going to help it to relax. But you're just moving. Come back into center. So a polyvagal release that's also really good for tension and for the neck is the suboccipital release. So I want you to put your left hand on the left side of your head. Just let your ear drop into your hand. So the neck muscles are fairly relaxed. It's a nice way to do this is lying on your back on, in bed or on the sofa or on the floor. But I just wanted you to see this one. So I thought we'd do it in the chair. So you're going to get the thumb of your right hand. Your fingers are around your skull. Start at the mastoid process and just come down and come under the rim of the skull. So if you think of the skull, that's the bone of the skull at the back, you can feel that hard rim of the back of the skull. And you just, with your thumb, you're just minutely moving forward and back through about 0.5 centimeter. And just work your way inwards from the mastoid process to where the spine enters the skull. So you're just working in, and you're going to find some really tender places here. You could be under the rim or just slightly above the rim. So you could explore both and just see where those active triggers are. So when you find an active trigger, it's going to feel like a taut band or maybe like a little tiny peanut. And you're just going to, once you've found it, you're going to glide your thumb across it and try and determine which direction has more glide. So one way it will be nice and slippery, and the other way you'll feel like you hit the resistance of the muscle. So what you're trying to find is that point of resistance. So if it glides quickly inwards or outwards, you're looking at the other direction. And then you're going to slide your thumb in until you meet that point of resistance. And then it's just light pressure. You don't need to press very hard, but you just maintain the pressure. And even doing this, you're going to get the sigh, the swallow, the yawn. You might notice there's more saliva in the mouth. So when we get stressed, when we get anxious, these muscles shorten and tighten, and they derange, they change the position of C1, C2, the top two vertebrae. And they're going to pull your head slightly forward and into rotation. So that means you get compression on the spinal cord and the cranial nerves that are coming out through the vagal system. So Just pressure. You're doing it for about 30 to 60 seconds. If you wanted to, you could make your thumb into a little circle, little spiral, or you could even do a little frictional rub. So just play around with what feels good for you. So I'm going to go for the frictional rub, the inwards and the outward movement through about 1 centimetre. Very tender in this spot for me. So the suboccipital muscles are really your capitis muscles at the back of the neck, where they attach to the skull. So some of them are running horizontally, some of them are running vertically, some of them are diagonal. And so it forms a triangle at the back of the skull, just around the C1, C2 area. And if that triangle gets too tight, then it's going to move the vertebra. So now maybe move in a bit and just see if there's any more. So you'll notice as you go from the mastoid process to the spine, where it enters the skull, there's usually one particular place that's most unhappy. So you're looking for that master trigger. So with your left hand now, just support your head back into center. Just do a few circles with your nose. Let your arms and your hands have a rest, because it's a little bit tiring if you're in an upright position. And if you close your eyes, you probably already can feel there's a difference in blood flow to the right side to the left side. So you probably feel a little bit warm and a little bit fuzzy on the side that you've just done, so that you've opened up that space. So put your right hand into the right side of your head. Let your head just tip into your hand. You're not rotating, you're not looking down. You're just going directly to the side. So it's, again, it's almost like a salamander. So you're opening those top 2 vertebrae with your left thumb behind your ear on the mastoid process. Come down to the rim of the skull and just gently, through about 0.5 centimetre, just gradually work inwards. And you're just trying to find, so if you feel tender at the mastoid process, that's going to be your sternocleidomastoid trigger points. So you want to come slightly in along the rim. And again, you're just moving gently. You're doing these little forward and backward movements, moving inwards until you find that master trigger, that point of real tenderness. So I found it again on this side. And you'll notice it's actually in that little indentation. It's in that triangle of horizontal, vertical, and diagonal capitis muscles that form your suboccipital muscles. So you're going to just glide your thumb across that tender area and try and discern which way is slippery and easy to move and which way you feel like there's a little bit of resistance. So once you've found the easy direction, so it can vary, it's not always the same. Once you found that easy position, then move out of that, opposite to that, into your resistance, and just find that point of resistance in the muscle and just gently keep the pressure on. So it's not huge pressure. You're looking for the sigh, the swallow, the yawn. I got a yawn on this side. I always think the yawn is a sign that maybe that's the side that is most out of balance, because it's quite a strong reaction as opposed to the deeper breath and the swallow. I got a deep breath as well, so I'm pretty tense. I've not been sleeping that wonderfully because of house issues. So it's all affecting, affects everybody. This time of year is quite stressful anyway, coming up to Christmas. So maybe once you've done that for about 30 seconds, you could add your little oppositional glides. You're going inwards, outwards, inwards, outwards. I got all 3 releases on this side. I got the yawn, the sigh, and now I've just done the big swallow as well. So pretty tight on this side. So you're doing it for about 60 seconds. And then with your right hand, just support your head back into center. Just drop your arms, so your arms and shoulders have a bit of a rest. Just move your head. I always find circles are best because you can feel quite tight in your capitis muscles as you come out of that, the muscles in the side of the neck. So a few shrugs, just test your range of motion. So I've definitely got more range now. Still feel pretty tight in my neck, but not as tight. So what I want you to do now is with 2 thumbs, hands around the skull, just glide your thumbs in from the mastoid process into, you're still on the rim of the skull, but you can feel where you go past the ridge of muscle into that indentation. And you're just going to just do an oppositional rub with 2 thumbs. Or you could do it with first and second fingers. So just play around. I think I'm going to try it with the fingers just to do it in a different way. So this is the way you do this as a quick fix. If you haven't got the time or the brain space to figure out where your easy movement is and your resistance is, you can just do a frictional rub here in the triangle. And that's going to, you know, it's going to relax the muscles. It's going to increase blood flow, lymphatic drainage in this area, so that if the triggers are blocked around here, it just helps them to release a little bit. So it's not as effective as the direct pressure, but it's a nice, quick, easy thing to do, just to get that extra circulation, that burst of energy, and hopefully to bring you into that ventral vagal state of being calm, relaxed, a little bit more socially engaged, a little bit happier, better quality of breath, lower heart rate, lower blood pressure. So it's a simple thing you can do just to bring you out of fight and flight. And then just relax. So if you close your eyes, you should feel nice and warm, nice and fuzzy at the back of the neck, and your neck should feel, so that warmth and that fuzziness is increased blood flow. Just do a few shoulder rolls. Okay, and you know, any of the salamanders, right ear to right shoulder, and we'll look up to, for me, it's 10 o'clock. We're just going for the cranial nerves in the eyes, just to double up, making ourselves feel calm. So these vagal releases can be done multiple times through the day if you're feeling anxious, if you've got an ongoing issue that keeps pushing you into fight and flight. You just find, you know, 30 seconds just to do this release. And again, you're stretching. C1 and C2 are being stretched, so they come out of that forward head posture, that compression. And you're stretching your scalenes. So you're helping the breathing through 3 different ways. So just when you've done your 30 seconds, just support your head back into center. Do a few nose circles so that your scalenes relax, because they don't like being stretched for such a long time. So then left ear to left shoulder. Make sure you don't rotate your skull as you do that. So ear to shoulder, and then you're looking up at what would be 2 o'clock. Now I can feel when I do this side that I've got tightness in my trapezius. So my ear is struggling to drop to the same place as the other side, and I can feel a certain point of tightness. So I can see my pathway through the nervous system that's being affected here. Just take a few breaths. So definite for me, I've got a discomfort around my shoulder blade. So 30 seconds, support the head, come back into center, just do a few circles. So trapezius, from the skull to the shoulders to the bottom of the rib cage, refers pain up into the neck. But the scalenes in the side of the neck, they refer pain down into the shoulder blade, into the shoulder, into the arm. So what I was feeling there was pain under the shoulder blade, which was coming from these muscles in the sides of the neck. So just things to remember, and then you might be able to go straight to the muscles that you need to deal with. So we'll get rid of the chair. So we're going to do some Feldenkrais now. I'll get a little bit more of me in the mat. There we go. So we're going to start with a good sized pillow, a pillow that's the right size for your neck. It doesn't want to be too small. It doesn't want to be too big. And this is a sequential exercise. So We do it for a couple of minutes, we assess, and then we add on and we keep going stronger and stronger. So what you're going to do is you're going to lie on your side. So you want to feel your neck is comfortably supported. Ankles, knees, and hips are stacked, so you're not leaning back. Shoulders are stacked. And you're going to start by just looking forward and then turning your nose to the ceiling. So it's a rotation of your cervical vertebra and come back. So always with Feldenkrais, it's slow, it's low effort, it's 60% range. So rather than focus on the time, maybe we'll do 10 repetitions of each exercise. And that way, hopefully, it will be roughly about the right amount of time. If your neck is finding this challenging, your chin is slightly retracted, so your stabilizing muscles in your neck are active and they're working for you. So this is 6. This is 7. So you're focusing on the quality of your movements, the quality of your breath, always remembering to keep it about 60% range. So you're not doing it quickly, you're not trying to go beyond looking at the ceiling. 9, one more. 10. So just stop for a minute, just assess how that feels. So the next add-on would be to roll the nose to the ceiling, but then add the shoulder, but try and keep your pelvis and your legs really still. You're looking forward again, so you could put your hand on your shoulder if that helps you. So the nose looks at the ceiling, the shoulder follows, but your pelvis is staying nice and still. So we're doing 10 again, nose, shoulder. So as I do this, I can feel the long muscles of my back. Just by adding the shoulder, I can feel quite a lot of muscles in the space between my rib cage and my pelvis, even into my sacrum. So everybody's different, but you're going to locate areas of tightness, stuckness in your body. So in myofascial terms, they call it stuckness. It's just where the body has lost its glide, its movement. And because the fascia is dried out, it needs to be hydrated, it needs to be moved. So how many is this? This is about 8. Nose and shoulder. Come back down. 9. So I'm noticing as I carry on that discomfort in my mid to low back is actually now starting to ease. So these gentle repetitive movements, they just gently hydrate the fascia and get things moving. So rest and assess, just see how it feels when you're not moving. So the next one, we're going to take the top hand, you're going to put it on your breastbone. I'm going to put 3 fingers on my breastbone. So you're going to start nose, shoulder, and then breastbone. And come back. So you could have your hand in front. I think I'm going to put my arm above me just to get it out of the way. So nose, shoulder, breastbone. And come back. Nose, shoulder, breastbone. And I can feel, so I'm just telling you what I'm feeling so that you think about it. I can feel my neck tightening with my arm overhead. So I've decided to bring it back into this position. We're different, we're all different. So just do what feels right for you. Nose, shoulder, breastbone. And this one for me feels really lovely because I'm always pretty tight around the back of my rib cage. So it's really stretching some of those muscles. And you can also add the breath. So I always like to breathe in as I do a rotation. Nose, shoulder, breastbone, inhale. So you're using your diaphragm to just stabilize lower thoracic, upper lumbar. The movement feels a lot safer when you use that in-breath. And you even find that because the diaphragm is moving down, you've got a little bit more movement through the thoracic spine, a little bit more freedom. So like I say, this is really getting into my serratus muscles, these muscles around the bottom of the rib cage. And if you're anxious, if you're stressed, your breathing muscles, your serratus muscles, they will be quite tight. So we've got them in the upper part of the rib cage, we've got them in the sides, we've got them at the back of the rib cage. Last one. So again, just rest and assess. You can bring your hands together for a moment. Just see how everything is feeling when you're not moving. So the next add-on would be to put your hand on the rib cage. Still try and think of the sequence. So nose, shoulder, breastbone, and rib cage. And maybe you're trying to keep your pelvis nice and still so that you get now quite a strong rotation through the lumbar spine. 60% range, because I can feel my SI joint on this top side. So if you've got SI joint dysfunction, then just make sure you stay 60% range. What I am noticing now is that my neck is going a lot further. Nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis stays nice and still. Inhale, exhale. So use your breath. Nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage. Inhale. If you can, you're breathing in and out through the nose. So nose breathing is going to bring you into your parasympathetic nervous state, more relaxed. So parasympathetic is rest, digestion, and restoration. So it's healing, it's digestion, it's relaxing, as opposed to fight and flight. And so nose breathing is always the best way to just calm yourself down if you're feeling stressed. So I've actually got now where I can nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage. I can keep my pelvis still and I've got my elbow on the floor. So my thoracic and my lumbar spine has really relaxed. Forgot to count, so I'm going to do one more, but if you think I've got the counting wrong, keep going until you've done your 10. Come back into center, hands together, just rest and assess and just see how that's feeling. So the final add-on is going to be the pelvis. So still moving through the sequence. So you've got nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, and now you let the pelvis roll as well. So where am I feeling the stretch when I add the pelvis? I'm feeling it where the femurs, the leg bones, come into the hip. So nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis. A little bit in my obliques as well, because we're going that little bit further through the torso, nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis. Breathe in through the nose. Full breath if you can. Breathe out through the nose as you return. So I'm not nose breathing on the return because I'm talking, but just nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis. Inhale through the nose. And I'm noticing I'm looking now a lot further. So before I was looking at the ceiling, now I'm looking behind. So quite a strong rotation for my neck. My neck started off very stiff, but now it feels quite free. Nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis. So you can see where the nose ends in the movement. One last time. So nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis. Come back into center. Hands together. Just rest and assess for a second. Give your brain just a moment to assimilate what just happened. So now, I think we started off, we were holding our shoulders. You're going to go back to just turning your nose to the ceiling and just see how your neck feels. So you'll find if you keep your shoulders stacked, your nose is going much further back now. So if I was to call the ceiling 12 o'clock, I can now rotate my nose to about 1 o'clock. So if we were in an upright position, that would be bringing our nose over the center of our shoulder, which is that perfect range through rotation. So you guys, you can either just roll onto your back and roll over, or you can change ends. We'll do the other side. New side, so you start at the beginning again. Make sure that the neck is comfortably supported. Ankles, knees and hips are stacked. We started with our hands on our shoulder, or my bottom hand on my shoulder, just to keep my shoulders still. And now you're looking up at the ceiling, and this side feels really tight now compared to my other side. So we're doing 10. If your neck is uncomfortable, the chin is slightly retracted. Don't over tuck. So your neck feels like it's being stabilized. Don't do it too quickly. You're breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Breathing in, 60% effort, 60% range. Looking at the quality of your movement. How does it feel? You're making assessments as you go. Looking at the quality of your breath. You want to breathe in through the nose until you feel that downward pull of your diaphragm. 8, 2 more. 9. Last one. 10. So bring your neck into that start position. Just rest and assess for a moment. Just see how it feels. So you've got your hand on your shoulder, just so that you know where your shoulder is. And you're going to move your nose to the ceiling. And now let the shoulder follow, but keep your pelvis perfectly still. So again, for me, I've got those long muscles in my back, really letting me know how tight they are, even into the back of the sacrum. I can feel the tension running down the length of my back as I do this rotation. So these sort of slow Feldenkrais movements, they really show just how organic and how connected the body is. You can't just single out one muscle group or one bone. The body is a whole entity. The stresses move through the body, through the myofascial system. And you can feel very clearly in this movement how moving your head sends the tension down from the neck, down through the long muscles of your spine, into your SI joint, into your pelvis, into your glutes. So maybe sometimes the movement, the tension's moving down the body, sometimes the tension's moving up the body from the legs. But you can just feel the pathway. Come back in to relax, so that's your 10. And my neck is feeling quite tight on this side. So there's tension in the capitis muscles at the back of the neck. So the next add-on was the breastbone. So you get your 3 fingers on your breastbone. You maybe still have got your hand on your shoulder. Try and keep it sequential, the nose, then the shoulder, and now the breastbone rolling in the rotation. And again, I can feel the muscles in the back of my rib cage, my lumbar spine muscles, a little bit tighter on this side. My obliques, So for me, I don't know what it's like for you, but for me, I've already identified that this side is a lot tighter. And when I did my assessments in the chair, my neck was a lot tighter on this side as well. So this whole left side, if you're lucky, you're on a side that feels a little bit better, not worse. But they both need to be done. They both need to be balanced. You don't just do one side. Don't forget the breathing. You're breathing in through the nose as you rotate. And that certainly makes things feel more stable. So this is 9, breathing in. I've noticed my neck is already going further. Last one, 10, breathing in. So I'm feeling very tense through the midsection, but my neck is already starting to free. So you just rest and assess for a moment. How does it feel when you're not moving? So the next add-on was the hand on the rib cage. So you still think of the sequence. So nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, but your pelvis stays perfectly still. So for me now, I can feel my obliques, my quadratus on this side. Different muscles are tight on this side. So maybe if you really want to, assess and deal with something, you do your Feldenkrais first. You find the muscles that are under stress, and then you get your massage ball or your roller, and you give these muscles a bit of attention at the end of the session if they need it. Nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, and I just got a clunk in one of my thoracic vertebra, just realigned itself there. So a little adjustment there, self-adjustment. So when you've got tension in the low spine, the upper spine starts to tighten up and react to that. So I think it was my T11, my thoracic 11 vertebra, just did a little click and it just went back into the right place. So one more, nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage. This one is really lovely. I really like this one. Haven't quite got my elbow on the floor. I might just do one more. On the other side, I was getting my elbow on the floor. Nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, breathing in. No. So I'm still a good distance away from the floor on this side. So I've still got quite a bit of releasing to go. So the next add-on was the pelvis. So you just give yourself a moment, just assess. It's more for the nervous system than anything. So the brain just does what it does. And then hand on the pelvis. Keep the sequence going. Nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage. And now the pelvis can roll back. And you're looking to wherever your neck is comfortable, 60% range. So don't forget, you're breathing in through the nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis. So just for information, now I can feel my tension fascia lata is quite tight at the front of the pelvis. So this is really good diagnostic exploration to figure out the chain of tension moving through your body, the muscles you need to address. So you could address them in the order that you notice them, working from the top down, or you could work from the TFL and work upwards. Breathing in, connect the breath to the movement. And I'm just asking myself on this side, I'm noticing that as the pelvis, so nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis, as the pelvis rolls on this side, my knees separate. So that shows me that I'm also tight through the iliotibial bands and the outer quads as well. On the other side, I could do it keeping my knees together. So I've just figured out a little bit more of that line of tension through my body. One more, breathing in, nose, shoulder, breastbone, rib cage, pelvis. I can definitely feel tightness through the TFL, through glute medius, into the leg. So you would go back to that if you had the time. So come back into your rest assess and just see now how it feels to take the nose to the ceiling. And actually on this side, even though I've got all this tension still down here, my nose is moving towards what would be 10 o'clock. So the other side I was moving to 1 o'clock. So this side I'm able to comfortably turn to 10 o'clock. So that makes me wonder if the neck tightness is coming from the SI joint rather than working down. Maybe for me, the tension is working up because my neck is really relaxed now and I can easily reach that 10 o'clock position. So these are the sort of things you're assessing as you do this. So while we're here, we're going to take our left arm up to the ceiling and we're just going to stretch to reach the ceiling and come back down. The chin is still slightly tucked. So this is a rhomboid stretch. The rhomboids run from the thoracic spine and they go under the shoulder blade. So if you do enough of them, you should start to feel, as things loosen, you're going to go a little bit higher. You should feel the band of muscles running from the spine under the inner edge of the shoulder blade. So we're doing 10 reaches. And you're still looking at the ceiling, the chin is still retracted. So this is 9. This is 10. Bring the hand to the hand, and now, keeping your pelvis nicely stacked, just slide the hand forward, trapezius, and then bring the hands together. So 10 little glides. Maybe on this one, as you slide forward through the hand, turn your nose down into the pillow so that your neck is fairly relaxed. So what I'm going to do is move my pillow back a bit so that I'm not suffocating in the pillow. I'm on the edge of the pillow, my head can drop. So I keep my neck moving with the arm, but keeping it fairly relaxed. We don't want to tighten the neck up again after we've just relaxed it. Pelvis doesn't move. You're breathing in. You're breathing out. You're breathing in. So now that I've done a few of these, I can feel my trapezius, but I can feel my latissimus dorsi stretching and my serratus muscles. So those big upper back muscles are getting a good stretch. One more. Lovely, lovely stretch. So now you're going to breathe in and you're going to take your arm in line with your shoulder, so not up towards your ear and not down towards your hip, in line with your shoulder, a little bit of softness in the elbow, looking behind you, and just open the arm to a 60% range and breathe out and close hand to hand. So let the head follow the hand, breathing in, the pelvis doesn't move. You're not trying to touch the floor. You're breathing out. You're just finding your natural 60% range, connecting the breath to the movement. Breathing in. So now I'm starting to feel chest muscles in the front stretching and obliques, waist muscles, abdominal muscles stretching, diaphragm, breathing out, breathing in. You might just arrive at the floor behind you by happy accident. So it just happens naturally through repetition, through connecting the breath to the movement. And if you do reach the floor comfortably, maybe you just stay there and just take a couple of deep breaths. And your hips should still be stacked. If you're not on the floor, the hand is just floating in the air as you take 2 deep breaths. And breathing out and bring the hand back to the hand. Bend your elbows and then just carefully coming up, you could just roll over again if you don't want to change ends. I'm changing ends so that you can see me. So less movement if you just roll to the other side. So again, ankles, knees and hips are stacked. And you're going to just start by floating the arm, the top arm, and you're going to do those 10 reaches to the ceiling. So the first one will be quite tight. Chin is tucked, just gently reach. Pelvis is not moving. So you're stretching your rhomboids, the muscles that go from your mid-thoracic, and they go downwards on a slight diagonal and they tuck under the shoulder blades. So reaching and come back. Reaching and come back. And this is 5. So you notice as you do the reach that your movement starts to get bigger. Your 60% range starts to increase. 7. Breathing in, breathing out, still breathing through the nose. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Bring the hand to the hand. So push your pillow back a bit. So you're on the edge of your pillow and you're going to keep your pelvis stacked and you're going to glide your hand forward. Glide it back to the hand. So gliding, let your head drop over the edge of the pillow so your neck stays relaxed. So this is 4. So you can glide further and further as long as you can keep your pelvis nicely still. You're still using rhomboids, trapezius, latissimus dorsi, the muscles under your shoulder blades, serratus in the back of the rib cage. So you breathe in as you slide, it's about 8 now. Breathe out as you glide back. 2 more. Using the nose, always try and keep it nose breathing so that you're calming yourself all the way through the class. Come back to hand. So now we're going to breathe in and open in line with the shoulder. Let the hand go behind, let the nose follow the thumb. So a good rule is that your nose is lining, you can see your thumb, your nose is moving with the thumb, and that way you don't overreach, you're just moving through a natural. So if you can still see your thumb, you're still in a safe range, you're breathing in through the nose, breathing out. So again, for me, I reached the floor pretty quickly on this side. The left side took me almost 10 repetitions to get to the floor. So you're starting to discover as you do this, quite a lot of information about how tight your body is, where your body's storing the tightness. Breathing out, breathing in. So this is about 7. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So if you can reach the floor comfortably, let the hand rest on the floor. If your hand is in the air, that is fine. And just take 2 deep breath cycle. So you're breathing in through the nose, full deep breath, breathing out through the nose, staying there, breathing in, feel the expansion of your rib cage, breathing out, and you return the hand back to the hand. So just for a moment now, I'm just seeing where I got to in my list. I've done all the ones I wanted to do. So now we're going to come over onto our back. And we're going to cross our right leg over our left thigh. And there's no space between the thighs. And we've got our arms just gently out to the side. So we're going to keep our shoulder blades planted on the floor. And we're going to just gently move our right foot towards the right side, only as far as we can go comfortably, and with the right shoulder blade down, come through center, and then over to the left side, only as far as you can go with your left shoulder blade on the floor. So if your shoulder blade lifts, you're going to go further, but it's not going to be safe. Your spine is going to overstretch, overextend. So keep that 60% range of motion in mind. So you're just going right to left. So again, we're doing 10. You can let the nose roll with the knee. That's a nice organic way to do it. So the whole body moves with the leg. Still doing your nose breathing, still focusing on assessing the quality of the movement. Are the shoulder blades staying down? Quality of the breath. Are you moving through a comfortable breath? You're not moving into a range where your breathing is altered. So as soon as our body becomes stressed, our breathing starts to change. So if you've got that good natural breath, then you're working in that great, perfect range. So bring your knees back into center. So we've got the right knee over, make sure I stay with my sequence with this, right knee over the left leg. And now we're going to bring our palms together. And we're going to keep our legs really still. And we're going to do the same thing with our arms. So just gently over to the right side, over to the left side, keep the right shoulder blade down, and then over to the left side, and the left shoulder blade stays down. So you're not going to go that far. If you go too far with the arms, your shoulder blade is going to completely lift off the floor. So you want at least the inner part of your shoulder blade on the mat, so you're not rolling all the way over. So you're just going right to left. You could let your nose follow the hands. So a couple more. So you notice your abs working quite hard on this one. Just that small movement with the hands together is enough to really get the abs working. So just come back into center. Give yourself a moment to rest for a minute. So now we're going to take our left hand onto our breastbone, and you're going to let your right hand on your breastbone. You're going to let your right foot move to the left, and you're going to gently move your breastbone and your head to the right. So there's an opposite direction. So right foot to left, and head and breastbone moving to the right. So you'll notice your shoulder blades stay on the floor, but the middle of your spine will start to leave the mat. And that's okay as long as the shoulder blades are down. So you're doing this slowly. You're making sure that you're in that 60% range. So right foot to the left, breastbone and nose to the right. So your spine is moving in two opposite directions. So quite a nice back stretch. You're breathing in through the nose. So you notice you always feel that little bit more stable when you use your in-breath. One more. I'm going to make sure we've got time to do both sides. So uncross, sorry, just relax for a minute. We've got one more to do. So the final add-on, which is quite strong, is to put the palms together again. And we're going to do the same thing now, but we're going to do it with a fully extended arm. You're going to keep your shoulder blades on the floor. So right foot to left side and hands and nose and head to the right. Only at 60% range and come back to center. So right foot to the left, hands, nose, head to the right. So you can think of this as the upper body moving to the right, the lower body moving to the left. 60% range. So you've got that opposition of energy in the body. So it's going to stretch your spine in a really lovely way, but it is going to challenge your core as well. So you can feel your abs are working. You breathe in through the nose. So use your diaphragm as well as your abs to stabilize. Breathe out as you center. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more time. Breathing in. Breathing out. So quite a bit of work. Uncross the leg. Bring the hands down. Just give yourself a moment. You could move your nose from right to left. How does your neck feel? My neck's feeling great at the moment. And I'm very aware of my abs. My abs were working, not in a huge way, but definitely working so that I feel them. So now take your left leg over your right thigh, no space in between. And you're going to just start by taking your hands out to the side. And you're going to very gently let your left leg move over to the right side. Keep your left shoulder blade on the floor. Come through center. And then left knee to left side, keep your right shoulder blade on the floor. So slowly come through center, only 60% range. So as you take your left foot to the right side, that left shoulder blade doesn't lift. You come through center. As the knee goes to the left, you're keeping your right shoulder blade down. And you're just assessing where you feel tight, what the quality of your movement is, what the quality of your breath is. Nose breathing, diaphragm. So as you repeat, as you move towards your 10th repetition, you find you can go a little bit further, keep the shoulder blades still on the floor. Some of those mid-back muscles start to stretch, start to hydrate and relax. Last one. Come back into center. So just rest and assess. So now we do the same thing with the palms together, interlace the fingers, keep the shoulder blades on the mat, and you just slowly going over to the left. Come through center, over to the right. Keep the pelvis nice and still. Maybe the nose follows the hands. Make sure you don't go so far that the inner edge of your shoulder blade leaves the floor. So the outer edge of the shoulder blade will lift because you've got your hands together, but you're not allowing your whole body to lift up. And again. One more this side. Come back into center. Relax for a minute. So then we did hand on the sternum. So you've got your left hand on the sternum and you've got your left foot on the floor. And you're going to just let your left foot go to the right side, and you're going to move your sternum and your nose to the left side. So a simpler way of saying this is the upper body moves to the left, and from the belly button down moves to the right. 60% range. You're breathing in through the nose. Use your diaphragm. You're breathing out through the nose. Breathing in through the nose. But for me, I can feel it's a little bit harder doing it this way. And I'm feeling the tension at the bottom of my rib cage. I'm breathing in, so we're just assessing all the time. We're assessing the quality of the movement. We're making little mental notes of where our body is feeling the tension. Focusing on the quality of our breath. 60% range, but that range will increase as your body starts to open up. Okay, so come back into center. So now we go for the full movement. We interlace the fingers, same as before. So the upper body moves to the left, the lower body moves to the right. Let your nose move with the palms and with the hands. So it's nose, head, neck, rib cage, moving to the left, pelvis and legs, moving to the right, lumbar spine getting a really delicious stretch. Breathing, quality of breath, quality of movement, 60% range. No effort, no striving. You're just using the breath, repetition. Two more. Come back into center. Last one. Come back into center. Uncross the legs. Take the arms back down into center. Just bring your knees in. Just give your abs a little bit of a release. Pull the shins into the ribs. So just see how the back is feeling. Do a few head rolls. How does your neck feel? So to come out of this, we'll just take the feet down one at a time, knees together. We'll just roll over, coming up carefully, coming into sitting. So you could sit cross-legged or you could sit in a diamond. And let's just come back to our neck assessment. So we started off with the mastoid process behind the ear. Just do your seesaw. So don't rotate your head to do that. You just one mastoid process up, one mastoid process down. You maybe hold your knees, drop your shoulders. So for me, a lot looser now. So no tension in this side, a little bit of tension still here at the jaw. So again, I've identified a little bit of tightness in my body that I just need to work on. So then come back to level and just rotate. So maybe put your hands on the floor so you're not tense in your shoulders, and just see how close can you get your nose to lining up with the center of your shoulder. So I'm pretty much there on both sides for me. That's great. So a good healthy neck in rotation, the nose should line up with the center of your shoulder without lifting your shoulder, without moving the shoulder. So just do a few shoulder circles. Squeeze the shoulders to the ears. Just feel the warmth in the neck as you increase your blood flow, your lymphatic drainage, and then just push down through the shoulders. So you're squeezing up and pushing down. So this is self-massage. Squeeze and push down. You could take your hands to the side. As you squeeze, you could make a fist with your hands. As you release, you could spread your fingers. So you shrug up and you tense your hands, and you shrug down and you release the hands. So you breathe in Breathing out, one more time, breathing in, so you can feel your neck getting really warm as you breathe out, as you increase the circulation. A few shrugs, and you've finished. So that was stress, that was breathing, that was neck, shoulders, and spine as well, back as well.